Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight on Success Week 21. And today our theme is Flow to Grow, boosting throughput, reducing operating expenses, and eliminating waste with a lean strategy. Our session objective today is equip our CEOs, our solopreneurs, our entrepreneurs, our teams, our business leaders with practical tools and strategic insight for increasing throughput, reducing operating expenses, and eliminating waste by aligning enterprise goals through Hoshin Kanri and activating flow across processes, teams, and systems. Too many organizations confuse movement with momentum. And this week we stepped into the lean lane where we explore how to align strategy with execution. We focus on flow, throughput, and purposeful action. We'll show you how combining Hoshin Kanri, a strategy deployment, with lean enterprise tools can create a synchronized operating system where every activity is tied to a clear outcome, eliminating waste, reducing cost, and maximizing value. From solopreneurs to scaling enterprises, this session offers a blueprint for achieving more with less, creating space for innovation and fueling sustainable growth. So let's kick off our topics. The first is throughput as a growth multiplier. So in order to examine this, we need to understand the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. We need to look at where we're driving process improvements and how those are positively impacting our results and our outcomes. And we can do that through driving greater clarity, alignment, and performance through the use of very data-driven automations, dashboards, scorecards, and or just a plain old Excel spreadsheet will help you understand how the automation or the use of these tools is helping you to become more efficient, i.e., what is the cost savings, time savings, schedule savings, budget savings that you're having from a overall perspective. And then the effectiveness, what is the additional value creation and impact you are having on your overall outcomes and results from your products and or your services. The next is through a tool that allows you to identify constraints. You can use the theory of constraints model. You can use force field analysis. You can use SWOT. You can use PESTLE. The greatest focus here is on ensuring that you're measuring from the beginning of your process. So that can actually be from concept to finalization and or reporting. So the theory of constraints helps you identify bottlenecks and performance hiccups, if you will. You can also use critical path analysis, etc., to help you move through that. Again, sometimes when we look at it qualitatively through force field analysis, through SWOT, through PESTLE, then we can move to the quantitative approach after we get the majority of the information to help us create a model and scenarios to help us optimize. Then we want to map our value stream so we can use good old value stream mapping. What we're looking to do is what's current state with regard to end-to-end, concept to fielding, plus reporting, etc. Where are using our constraints information, where did we find bottlenecks, where did we find additional waste and delay, and therefore what people, process, or tool can we put in place to reduce our delays and optimize our end-to-end flow. So the first is we need to begin by redefining what success looks like. We're not talking about doing more stuff. We're talking about doing our stuff better, because then we create heightened value, which allows us to impact our customers at a greater level for our outcomes and results that we've stated are most important, either for them or for the organization writ large. Throughput is the rate at which we deliver the value to our customers. So when we explore identifying bottlenecks, we need to pair these together, map our value streams using the theory of constraints to find our bottlenecks, using these other qualitative tools to help us understand what some of the perhaps symptoms are, etc. And then we need to use our value stream analysis to reduce lead times and improve our delivery, either product and or services. So ultimately, greater throughput levels enables greater scalability. Then we need to move on to the hidden cost of waste. Too often organizations, A, don't understand all the types of waste, B, don't take the time to bucketize and measure them, and C, don't prioritize for remediation purposes. So an acronym we can use to identify our 8 lean waste is TIMWOODS: transport, inventory, motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, defects, and skills, i.e. our workforce capabilities. And so we can explore through lean waste analysis how even very small inefficiencies can ultimately create big costs when they're exacerbated. We can also use tools like the 5S and Kaizen to help restore clarity, order, and energy. Those two help us reduce clutter and create a stronger space for clarity and flow. Again, when we have clarity, we can get to greater alignment by bringing in the different people, process, and technology components that are most important to help us achieve through optimal flows the outcomes and results that we said we wanted, which then allows us to scale and grow. And then we're looking at quick wins to reduce operating expenses without sacrificing quality. So I've just thrown a bunch of information at you, new tools, new quality concepts. So if you are not familiar with Hoshin Kanri, if you are not familiar with the Lean Enterprise Toolkit, reach out to us. We're happy to help you get familiar with these, and you can Google these as well. You could go to asq.org and search quality body of knowledge. They have a great index A through Z that talks about all of these things. We also have a 5S structure and a Kaizen exercise. And you can just Google these or ask your AI operating chat buddy to explain the different components and how you might be able to harness and utilize them to get the outcomes and results that are most important to you at this phase of your organization's maturation. Hoshin Kanri, phenomenal tool, because what this does is helps us create or operationalize our strategy with precision and flow. It ensures your strategic priorities are cascaded clearly and consistently through every level of your business, because they are and have input from every person in every level. So basically, it's a top down meets bottom up, meets in the middle type of construct where our strategic goals, objectives, initiatives, and metrics are co-created together and align at every level of your business. So ultimately, we can roll up to a single dashboard or scorecard. It's huge with regard to collaboratively co-creating a strategy that pre-builds buy-in and therefore it positively exacerbates results and outcomes affiliated with the strategic plan. We also can bring you X Matrix, which allows you to visually connect breakthrough goals with your annual objectives, with your daily action plans. Think of it similar to what you're doing in the Agile framework. If you're using Kanban, if you're using program increments, if you're using business value, if you're optimizing your work in progress and you're orchestrating through your strategic goals and objectives, along with the initiatives and the tasking that they roll down to, this ultimately gives you your daily action plans for any person in an organization and allows you to understand the success criteria that will enable them to get to done. And hence, it will roll up to, again, the broader achievement of the strategic goals and objectives. You can see how pairing these together allows you to create a sustainable and growth-oriented strategic plan, if you will, and it also supports agility through embedding feedback loops in support of Kanban programming, the Agile framework, however you choose to operationalize that through feedback loops such as PDCA, plan, do, check, X. So we can create a tool suite across our entire strategic planning and operationalization cycle to make sure that your business is aligned, adaptable, and accountable to that strategy. It also helps you align your vision, mission, and your annual priorities across every layer of your business. It helps bridge your long-term strategy again into daily action at the resource level. And integrating Hoshin Kanri with PDCA helps you create stronger, continuous alignment. So these tools together are going to be awesome. So let's talk about some additional lean execution tools for entrepreneurial enterprise. Again, we talked about the Kanban board that helps you visualize works, limiting your work in progress and maximizing flow. If you're not familiar with that, look up SoS Agile. They have a wonderful focus, wonderful methodology and a framework with a roadmap that you can really plot your maturation using this model going forward. You don't have to do it from scratch. They have the tools, they have the roadmap. You basically just take the step, implement it, measure how you're doing, take the next step, implement it, measure how you're doing. Are you moving along towards the outcome of a heightened business agility in support of your scale and growth goals? The next is using a construct called A3 thinking. And this really helps you to structure your problem-solving sessions and helps you eliminate root causes. Can also use supporting tools such as Ishikawa diagram or the fishbone diagram to identify symptoms and then work backwards to root cause, etc. And then as we're moving towards reduction of variability and waste, we want to get to the place where we have standard work, hopefully that's automated, so that we can zero out our defects and achieve the outcomes and results, both quantitatively and qualitatively, with the impact and quality levels that are and excellence levels that are so important to us as entrepreneurs. Last is we're moving from chaos to flow by designing our lean operating system. So that takes, again, the linkage of our strategy to all of our systems within our enterprise and our people. So we need to build a flow framework that helps us connect purpose, process, and performance. Again, clarity, alignment, performance is undergirded by people, process, and technology, with an overlay of automation, with an overlay of AI, with an overlay of our data visualization mechanisms that help us understand, are we driving sustainable growth, innovation, and continuous improvement? It's not about perfection, it's about progression, predictability, and purposeful execution. The next is, again, connecting what would seem to some disparate parts of our organization. If you've never been in change management, if you've never been in digital transformation, if you've never been responsible for implementing a total quality management system, then you may not see how the interrelations between strategy, systems, and people can interconnect to create a unified performance model. Again, we're here to help you. CEO at GBLINNOV, stratllc.com, or advisor1 at successstrategist.com. And you can find more information on our YouTube channel that will help you move the needle forward in this area, because ultimately what we're trying to do is move you from a place of putting the puzzle pieces together to actually building a culture of continuous improvement and adaptive learning. So what is our key takeaways for today? The first is take the step, start now, and it will be a person by person, team by team, level by level initiative. If you're small or a solopreneur, good on you, much easier. Business model canvas, business agility, harness the tools and see how you can come up with a greater growth and strategic outcome result. But for those of you who are already growing and scaling, you're probably going to need to include multiple people with multiple teams across multiple levels of your organizations. And so again, we want to take you back to thinking about how you can do each of these phases. So if we look at throughput as growth, we at least want to understand what we're currently doing, how is that working for us, and what are the major constraints. We also want to inventory all of our waste types and the impact that we think they're having on our outcomes and results. We want you to explore the use of Hoshin Kanri to really create a dynamic living strategy that's co-created and adopted by all aspects of your organization. And then we want you to put in place feedback loops, such as PDCA. Then we want you to augment that so we can build or bridge the strategy to daily action using the X Matrix tool, our Kanban board, our A3 thinking, etc. And then ultimately creating SOPs and/or automation around our standard work. Then again, we need to check our flow end to end. How far were we able to move the needle? Is there more on the table for us to optimize? And if so, rinse and repeat. So a personal or team level worksheet, X Matrix worksheet, and/or the A3 thinking or force field analysis or pestle or SWOT can help you better start understanding where the problems are and help you start better aligning your goals to your actions and your outcomes. You can have a throughput improvement checklist because that will help you spot and potentially resolve flow blockages. You may want to put together a waste walk guide for your organization to help you uncover cost drains and hidden inefficiencies. And then we want you to message across your organization or to yourself to provide inspiration to rethink how success flows through your business. It's on purpose, not by accident. So our discussion prompt for today and in our social media channels will be: what area of your business needs to flow better? Where are you overcomplicating or overproducing? And what could you release to actually accelerate your growth going forward? So this week, we ask you to choose one area of your business, whether it's onboarding, invoicing, content creation, customer service, whatever that might be, and map the current flow of activity from start to finish Ask yourself, where do you see the work piling up? Where are you noticing that people are waiting? What steps add concrete value and which ones just add time? We ask you to then consider eliminating one source of waste and introducing one improvement that increases throughput or reduces delay. Because small changes lead to big momentum. So let flow lead your way. Tag us on your breakthrough with Spotlight on Success and make sure you share your wins. Again, this is Dr. Rhonda Farrell signing off on Spotlight on Success Week 21. Flow to grow, boosting throughput, reducing operating expenses, and eliminating waste with lean strategy.